right, hello everyone. Welcome to Alexa Conversations Office Hours. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Justin Jeffers, and I am an evangelist at Amazon Alexa, and I teach people how to build Alexa skills. We're getting close to the final certification date for the Alexa Conversations Alexa Skills Challenge. So, for those of you who are actively working on getting your skills certified, these are the last few days to get that done. That date is, the deadline is the 30th of September, so it's just around the corner. If you have any questions about Alexa Conversations, please put them in the chat and I will answer them. The other thing to think about is, or to know about, if you're not already a member, you should check out the Alexa Conversations Slack channel that we've created. And you know what I just realized? I'm not able to see the chat because when I popped this out, it popped out from my own channel, not the Amazon Alexa channel. So I hadn't seen any of your chat messages. So let's do this again. Pop out that chat. There we go. Okay. So I don't know if anyone has posted a chat message, your question, but I didn't have the right chat window open. So if you could please repost your question. Sorry about that. I see Data Driven Skills says, hello, didn't miss today. Awesome. Great. Glad you were able to tune in. I know the last few weeks you've been tuning in at the very last minute saying, I missed. So glad you're here. So yes, if I'm sorry about that. I had the wrong chat window open. So if any of you have posted a question, please repost it, and I'll get to answering that question. Shoko Designs says, good afternoon. I'm having a tough time joining the Slack channel. What seems to be your problem? I can reshare the link to the Slack channel. Copy that link, paste it into the chat. There you go. There's the link to the Slack channel. Now, what's interesting about the Slack sign-up process is when you click the the chat, or not, when you click to sign up, it'll ask you for a username and password, and even though you might not already have an account, it's kind of confusing. So if you don't have an account, just enter in a password, and what will happen is it will automatically create the account for you with that password that you just entered. But if you already have an account, it'll just log you into that account. So Slack is a little bit confusing, I think, when it comes to creating account if you don't already have one. So try that. Hopefully that works for you. But what I was going to say is the chat that we have, or the Slack group, is really great because those communities there. Great. I'm glad it worked. So the people have been pretty active in there. For example, Data Driven Skills has been in there asking and answering people's questions. And so, there's also a channel for certification. If you go to, here it is. Can I copy a link to this? Oh yeah, I'm not sharing my desktop just yet. So let me copy this link and then I'll paste it in the chat. Channel name. That's the channel name. What happens if I copy the channel name? Does that make it into a link that I can paste? No. You get to watch Justin struggle through Slack. Mail. I can send an email for the channel. There's a mail address for each. Oh, interesting. So what does... Oh, weird. Okay. I see. Then you can email questions to the Slack channel. Yeah, let's not share that out. I want people to link to that channel. But anyway, let's do it this. This is the easiest way. If you go to hashtag certification, once you're in the Slack group, then you can access that channel, which was specifically created for certification related questions. You can definitely ask your certificated related questions in tech questions, but certification is there's people watching that on the certification team who will be able to give you feedback and help you understand or get unblocked with your with feedback. So okay, let's see. Data-driven skills asks, how does APL work with conversations, or does it? Good question. So it does work with APL. Let's see. Let me log in. Let me go back over here as I log in. Let's see. Here we go. And then I'll switch over and show you. Rafex Pipoka says, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. It's morning where I am. Oh, shoot. That's not the account I wanted to log in. All right. Let's log in on a different account. I have too many accounts, and I lose track of what skills I have in which account. All right. Sign in. Let's see, which one should I show? Yeah, I think this, wait, is this the one? Or do I need to be in the other account? Because I wanted to show, I have some example with Alexa Conversations. I don't think this is the one that has it, is it? Conversations, responses, and success. There we go. Let's see. I do have a visual response for this one. Cool. Okay. I think. Yes. Oh, but I think I need to use the other browser for this. Safari's. I'll switch over. Hey, Kevin Evans. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Yes. Cool. So yes, Alexa Conversations and APL. To answer your question, data-driven skills. Let me switch over. So APL does work with Alexa Conversations. So when you go to your responses, you have this audio response section, which is required, and that uses APL-A, which is Alexa Presentation Language for audio. And then you can also add a visual response, and this is optional. And the visual response, you basically use the APL tool, and when you click on this, you get the APL authoring tool that you're familiar with. So here I've got a sample here. I've got some data that I've put in. I've got some document, and this isn't the final thing. I was just kind of playing around with this, but if I were to use this version of the skill, I would see these images appear. Let me go to data here. Looks like I've got something wrong here because the data here isn't rendering, but I do have a value here set for temperament. So there's temperament there. Oh, I see. I think what happened was, no, these are working. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure out what's wrong, but I will figure that out offline. Anyway, it does work. You can also do touch events and respond to those. So if you go to actually alexa.design/AC GitHub, and you go to Intro to Alexa Conversations. In here, there is code that responds to a button press on the screen. So right here, you can see Intro to Alexa Conversations button event handler. It's looking to see if the request type is an Alexa presentation APL.user event, and then the document has defined the event to be called set favorite color. So if you tap on that, it's going to delegate to Alexa Conversations using the delegation strategy, and it's going to use this utterance set called specify favorite color. So it's as if they said this value, but instead they tapped it. So that is how this specify favorite color works. So yes, Alexa Conversations and APL work together. So good question. I think, let's see, I think there was a question back. You know what, let me copy and paste this into here. If you have any questions about Alexa Conversations, please ask them now. Let's see, we got the Slack issue. Why not? I'll copy and paste that. We'll get a... That's one of the most often asked questions I get about Slack channel is, hey, I have trouble getting in. And yeah, it's kind of confusing. Are you guys moving over to the new challenge? So yes, for those of you who missed it, on last week we announced the new Alexa Skills Challenge Hackathon. Hi Hawk 2000. We announced a new Alexa Skills Challenge for Alexa Presentation Language and the Web API, and a bunch of other like multimodal related hackathon or features. And you know, I don't know the link to that particular hackathon off the top of my head. Let's see if I can find it. Is there a search? There we go. The Beyond Voice Hackathon. So yes, the Beyond Voice Hackathon, this is another hackathon that's going on. It was announced just last week, and it's for APL for audio, motion sensing APIs for the Echo Show 10, and the Alexa Web API for games. So Joe Moyo is our domain expert for multimodal Alexa presentation language. So he will be, you know, representing and doing. I don't know what their content plan is, but I do know that they're going to have a separate Slack channel, which I think you can probably already join. Let's see. There's documentation here. Well, I do know that they're going to have a Slack channel for this, but as you can already tell, I'm not the main point of contact for this challenge, so I don't know all the information. If you are looking for more information about the other hackathon, you can contact Joe Moyo. He's on here on Twitch as Joe Mo Code. Let's see, Joe Mo Code. He's also Joe Mo Code on Twitter as well, so you can reach out to him there. Let's see. Data-driven skills says Python code. So good question. We've gotten a lot of requests for Python samples, and I would just say, like, it's one of those things that we're aware of and we're working on it. I don't have a date for you as to when, but you know, they will come. Let's see. Hawk 2000 says, were you able to finish that example for validating slots? So good question. For those of you who missed it on Thursday, Kavindra, Jeff Blankenberg, and I did let's make sure that's on mute, good, did another conversation about Alexa Conversations with, about, can I get to the videos from here? It's really weird. After they updated the user interface, they got rid of those other links when you're live. I guess because they don't want to distract people. I don't know. Let's see here. Here it is. This stream doesn't quite answer your question, Hawk 2000, about the validating slots, but we do talk about delegating from, or sorry, ending the session, and then we talk about delegating to and from Alexa Conversations, and resetting the context, and then we ran out of time because we only had an hour. Kavindra and I met last week to talk about validating slots, and we came up with a solution. We weren't able to get to it during that particular stream, but we will sometime in the near future do another stream where we talk about these things. So I would say sit tight on that. Let's see. Moan Howard says, "Hi everyone. Will the Slack channel for conversations close after October 5th?" Great question. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be open after October 5th. So let's see. Were you able to finish the example for validating slots? Let me just go ahead and copy and paste that so I have a log of that question. Yeah, so I think it will still be available after October 5th. So yes, I know it's been a valuable resource to the community. The product team has also been really active in there, helping people get unblocked, answering their questions, getting feature requests, getting feedback about the pain points that you're facing. And so I don't see that disappearing anytime soon, but that's just me thinking that it's going to be okay, but that it's going to stay around, but I don't know. Let's see. Data Driven Skills says they do have a Slack channel. It's up already. Okay, cool. And this is in relation to the Beyond Voice. Is it under resources? I'll share out the link if I can. Let's see. Tutorial, sample code, API for games, motion sensing. Okay. It's not laid out the same. Overview. Login to developer console, full rules, all the categories, eligibility, requirements. Slack? Nope. I don't think participants will be where it is. No, you have to log into resources. Okay. It does say Slack channel, but I don't see. Do I have to sign up for the challenge and then get a link in an email to click on? Is that what's going on? I don't think it'll be on the rules page. No. Yeah, I didn't think. No. Nope. Yeah, it appears that I think you need to rationalize to one Alexa Slack with different channels for different hackathons. Okay, yeah, so I think Monique Howard said yes in relation to the joining the hackathon, then you get the join link. So, okay, great, thank you. Thanks for sharing that link out. I'm going to go ahead and paste this into here. So yes, this alexabeyondvoice.slack.com. That's the link. Is this a link that you can use to join with? Because the join link for the other Slack. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right. Good to know. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If you get here and you see email, password, it's like, well, I don't have a password for this account. I've never created this. You just enter in your email address, password. If you don't already have an account, it will create it with the password you enter here. If you don't, if you do have an account, just enter in the email and password for that account, and it'll log you in. I know it's kind of confusing. So let's see. Data Driven Skills has some feedback here about. Oops, where is it here? And by rationalize, I think he means combine them into one, so there's not more than one Slack group. Yeah, I see the argument for aggregating it all into one, but then you'd have to tag each one of your questions with what the specific thing that you're trying to do is. This is a multimodal thing. This is an Alex Conversations thing. This is an APL related thing. This is a motion sense. I think it'll get what's the word I'm looking for? like having dedicated Slack workspaces helps like keep the the questions like relevant to their distinct pieces, and then also like the product teams can like know, okay, I'm in this particular group in this workspace, therefore, the questions that are coming here are, for what it is that we're working on. But I will take that feedback back to the teams and have a discussion about that. Let's see. All right, so we're at we have about 40 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? I know things are, as far as the hackathon goes, timelines and things and due dates, it's winding down. But if you have any like questions about Alexa Conversations, any things you're trying to do, anybody has anything, techniques and things that they want to share, things that they're working on, don't hesitate to share them in the chat. We got quite a few of you in the chat right now, so let me know. Here, let me also copy this and capture that too. It's all part of the same feedback. Thank you, data-driven skills. Yeah, let me take a look at this, because I know this is the Beyond Voice Hackathon. There's I know they're just getting started with this one, so I don't know, and it's organized by a different group of people internally, so I don't know like the resources page. I don't know what their content setup is going to be, but okay. Yeah, I don't know data-driven skills. Yeah, if they're gonna do a dedicated office hours, like that is something that, like I said, I'm not associated, or I'm not like Jomo Code is the domain expert for the multimodal pieces, and so I've been pretty focused on Alexa Conversations, and so I don't know all the particulars and details of what their content plan is going to be and support, but I imagine they'll do some stuff and do some streams and things. And I know that Joe has also been, if you're not already following Joe, you should. He's on twitch.tv/JomoCode. He streams on his own personal Twitch channel as well, and he's been doing some web API stuff. So for those of you who aren't aware, I also stream on my personal Twitch channel as well. So I'm just Jeffress on Slack here on Twitch, and since mid-April, I've been working on an Alexa simulation game called My Cactus. It's a game where you raise a cactus. You can open closed blinds, you can water the cactus. Anyway, this is a collaboration between myself and two other people at Amazon. So we have Allison Atwell, who is a voice designer, and then we have Joe, who's been working on, we've all been working on different parts of the project. So I built the main skill. I worked with Allison in the beginning to like create an original like design and concept of the game and the skill. She created storyboards, and then I worked with Joe. Like Joe came in midway through, and we further readjusted the design and stuff, and then we split up and started working on our separate Twitch channels. So I built the main skill, Joe worked on the web API piece, and Allison, we worked back and forth with her to like tweak the design while we came up with questions while we were actually building it, going, oh, hey, we need a storyboard for this particular case. Anyway, so if you're interested in some of the web API stuff, definitely follow Joe here on Twitch, and you can tune in and see some of that content that he's been doing outside of streaming on the official Amazon Alexa Twitch channel. So yeah, the storyboards were created with a tool called Adobe XD. And so Allison went through and created those. We're actually going to be doing like a series here on Twitch about the development of My Cactus. So that'll be coming soon. I'm not exactly sure when we're going to start it, but we're in that content planning phase now. So anyway, this is getting slightly off topic here with, I want to keep the focus on Alexa conversations here, but to answer your question, data-driven skills about like tutorial on how to use XD and stuff. Part of that like multi-part series that we're going to do, we will go over XD and show like, okay, here's our storyboards, and I think Allison's going to like live build a couple of them just to demonstrate how it works. Kevin Evans says, did some brainstorming to come up with a few skill ideas over the weekend. I think they're really great potential with some of the healthcare field, definitely incorporating conversations. Cool. Do you care to share more about that? And if you have any questions about like, or you want to vet your idea or anything that are related to the skill idea and Alexa conversations, please ask away. And we could use this office hours time to dive a little deep into what it is that you're trying to build and what you're thinking about, Kevin Evans. So if you care to share and you want those, you have some questions, please feel free. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So we had that APL related question. Okay, answered that. Just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. Good. Okay, cool. Moon Howard says, let's see. We are working on fleshing out the slots. Thursday's session was great, but the video was a little choppy, so I couldn't follow. Will there be a write-up on it? Thursday session. Are you referring to the session with Kavindra? The video that I shared the link to just above. I'll reshare it just in case people are tuning in late. There we go. Are you referring to this one? Another conversation about Alexa conversations, where we talked about ending the session and then how to reset the context without, like, you can delegate from Alexa conversations to your interaction model, and then from your interaction model to Alexa conversations, and it will reset the context, but there are some cases where the information will stick around. And so one way to make sure that you clear it out entirely is you add a second API call to the same API. So your last two lines of the sample dialog show API success to the call, and then you have another one after it that is immediately like calling the same API. And what happens is in your backend code, you are delegating to your interaction model. And so we talk about that. It was an hour-long episode. So if you want to learn more about that particular thing, I would probably skip to about the 30-minute mark and watch from there. I think we spent 30 minutes talking about how to end the session, and then I think we spoke right around the 30-minute mark. We started talking about what's the word I'm looking for? We ended up talking about the resetting the context. And stay tuned for a future episode where we're going to talk about validating slots. Last week on Office Hours, I was live coding an example for building a validation in relation to a question. I'm not sure. I don't remember who it was who asked it. If it was Kevin Evans or W. Giorgio or somebody was asking about validation, and I rolled up my sleeves and started, going at it, and got to almost the point where I could hit that build button, but it was like right at the end. And then I decided, what should I use here? Should I use an API success or an API failure? And so after that, I ended up having a conversation with Kavindra, and we came up with something that works, and we want to share it, but I don't actually have the working sample in my account. It's on Kavindra's account. Otherwise, I would take the opportunity today during office hours to show you. But stay tuned for a future stream about doing the validations. And we'll announce it in the Slack channel when we go live with that. Good stuff. Any other questions we have out there? Kevin Evans, I don't know if you wanted to share your brainstorming ideas and get some questions asked about your skill idea in Lex Conversations. Hawk 2000 says, looking forward to it. Thanks. Yes. Yeah. It's one of those things that, we mentioned this on Friday too, but, we see that people are asking a lot of similar questions about how do I do this particular thing. So we wanted to provide some guidance around that. And so that's part of that really cool thing that we're able to do here with the Slack group, is to interact with you all. And if we start noticing patterns like, oh, hey, we're getting these types of questions asked, we should provide guidance and information on how to do that. And with that, I just remembered I wanted to share some guidance and information with you. So I know the submission deadline, certification deadline is coming up. And, by this point, hopefully your skills are already certified. But I want to share out some of this information for, to help you get your skills certified. And this is good information to have just in general, in case, whether or not you're submitting and trying to get a skill published with Alexa Conversations, just, getting a skill published in general. This is good information to have bookmarked for you to read through. So this is a blog post that gives you 5 tips for getting your skill certified. So this is definitely something that you'll want to read through. One thing to think about in your testing instructions, like, I don't know if any of you used account linking for your hackathon submissions, but if you did use account linking and it requires an account, you want to make sure that you have a testing account and you make the testing account available to the testers. And so in this testing instructions, this is where you would put in the information that they would need in order to be able to test your skill. So what I would probably do in this case, if I had account linking, I would just create a dedicated test account. I would have my own test account that I would use for development, but then I would create a specific test account for the testers that are going to certify the skill, and provide that information there. So you want to do that, and then this here says to test your skill with Alexa Simulator using voice as well as text. I would also say that not only do you want to test it in the simulator, but you really should try to test it on the device itself, and make sure that it works. One thing that the testing simulator doesn't show you is when the light ring is active or not. And so one of the things that gets a lot of people with certification is the prompting issue, where where there's no question but the microphone is left open, and that is something that will cause certification failure if you don't have and so that's one of the reasons why people have been asking with Alexa Conversations, like, how do I specifically end the session after I'm done? Because I failed certification because the microphone was left open. So, without Alexa Conversations, if you're just using an interaction model, you have two options. You can use that function with should end session and setting it to true, or you can just leave the reprompt blank and it won't leave the microphone open. But with Alexa Conversations, after each Alexa says dialogue turn, the microphone is automatically left open. So you have two options that you can do. You can, if you don't want to explicitly end the session, if you want to leave the session open so that way the user can like respond or do another action, you just need to add in your response template for your API success a question to the end of it to allow them to continue interacting with the skill. The other thing that you can do is you can ask them, you can also say to them like, you can say stop to end or stop to cancel the session or whatever. I wouldn't use the word session because that would be, people would be like, what are you talking about? That's jargon at that point as far as the user is concerned. So I'd be like, you can say exit to quit or something like that, or stop to quit. And then once they say stop, what'll happen is the response, I'll go over here and point this out in the set of responses. Where are you? Responses. Here we go. Provide help. Here it is, by. So we have this Alexa Conversations by. This is built in. And so if the user says stop or exit, or the text that's defined here in this particular audio response will be spoken. All right, I need to log in on Chrome here in order to be able to see this nicely rendered, but as you can see, the default text here is by. So you'd probably want to edit this and make it say something more interesting, but I would say don't make it a long paragraph. There's a balance. There's nothing worse than trying to quit a skill and having it speak way too much information at you before it exits the skill. That's a pet peeve of mine. So I would say keep them short and simple. So that's one option that you have. The other option that you have is to delegate back to your interaction model and then have your intent handler that you've delegated to close the session. So that's one of your options, and we showed how to do that in the video I shared. And then what else did I want to say? Oh yes, something that I learned on Friday. I didn't know about this. Kavindra was talking about this. If you go to your interaction model and you go to the stop intent, anything that you add here, stop, exit, cancel, see you later, I want to quit, any phrases that you add, so later alligator. So if the user were to say later alligator, the Amazon stop intent would be invoked if I say bye, I'm out, stop. Well, we don't need to add stop. Stop's already trained to this, but you can add any little custom things that you can think of. If I were to then save and build this while I'm in Alexa Conversations, if the user says one of these things, it will trigger the end of the skill. So that was something I learned on Friday. I don't know, I haven't tested it yet, but I don't know if in that case you get a stop intent request that gets sent to your skills backend. I would imagine that's the case. Like I said, I didn't know about that until Kavindra brought it up on Friday, and on stream I was like, I didn't know about that. So it's just one of those things that you learn. So just wanted to share that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, the other thing to note is anytime you see anything here that starts with Alexa Conversations, that means it's a default. You can't delete it. In fact, if I go to the responses and you look at the welcome, it's not, you can't delete these because these are musts. And if you edit it, you'll see that its default name is Alexa Conversations. So then if you look through this list. Anything here that was prepended with Alexa Conversations that you didn't create manually was created by the system. And you can edit the content, and you can actually also change it to your own custom thing. Like that's not going to it's not going to break it, but you want to make sure it's the appropriate. So this is welcome. We want to keep it welcome text, but you don't have to use the one that they gave you by default when you created it. So just one thing to think about there, like you can change these, but you can't remove these particular responses. So the welcome, the by, request more, and out of domain. So okay, now what else do I want to, I was talking about these different tips here. Test your skills, define sample utterances. I mean, that one's definitely something that you'll want to test. Yeah, with Lex Conversations, you're only going to have an ENUS unless you're augmenting a skill that already exists. And one thing that Jeremy, he's helping out from the certification team. He's been answering questions in the Slack group, but I don't think he's here today in the chat. But one of the things that he mentioned in the past, and I'll reiterate it here, is if you do have multiple locales, like say you're adding Alexa Conversations to an existing skill, and let's say you have an ENUS, an ENGB, you have JAJP for Japan or Japanese, and then let's say you have what is that, ESMX, like Spanish for Mexico locales. Even though you don't have Alexa Conversations in those other locales, what will happen is the certification will go through and each locale will be certified, and so that can like slow down the amount of time that it takes to get your skill certified. So that's something to note. Yes. Oh yeah, I don't know if you have any permissions that your skill requests from your user, like accessing their name, email, phone number, reminders, anything. In your description, you'll need to explain why you need that information, what the benefits that they get. So that was this document that I wanted to share out. And then here is another quick reference for certifying Alexa skills. And this is good information for you to have for not only just for the Alexa Skills Challenge for Alexa Conversations, but in general for submitting and certifying a skill. Not only that, but it also has it nicely broken down into each and every different, so if you have in-skill purchases, there's a certification guide specifically for that. So that is definitely something that you will want to take a look at. And then this is really nice. We've got a whole big list of blog posts. I think, is this the same one from here? Oh goodness. Alexa skill tips for successful Alexa conversation. This one's how to prepare. I don't know how old these blog posts are, but the information should still be relevant. So I would say just take a look at these and just make sure that you've got everything ready to go for submission. 9:30. You have about 2 days. Not the time, the date, September 30th. I was just looking at the clock going, oh, it's kind of close to 9:30. I don't want to confuse people. So September 30th is that deadline for getting your skill certified. So I hope you've already gotten your skill certified, but if you haven't, good luck. And if you have questions, if you go to the Slack group, you go to the certification section, you can go in and ask and get those questions answered. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Earlier when I was trying to get that link, it created a mail address for this, and you can share the email address with the channel. Let me just dismiss that. I don't actually want that. Yes. So if you have any questions about certification, go in here. You can tag Jeremy at Alexa, Kirksey, Alexa, Tia, and Helen. 4 of them have been handling the certification-related questions. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. Anybody have any questions related to Alexa Conversations? Let's see. Hopefully you're all wrapping and getting your skills certified at this moment. I wish you all the best. Grab a drink real quick. All right, Monique Howard, or Mon Howard says, thanks, Justin. Have a good day. Yes, thank you. I was going to copy that like it was a question, but all right. Let's see. What should I do for these next 15 minutes if you all don't have a question? Let's see. It's too bad that the validation sample that Kavinder and I worked on is in his account, because I don't have it. And I'll talk about, I guess I can briefly talk about what it was that I was coming up with, and then I don't remember exactly how we solved it. Like, so he and I met Thursday night to prepare for the stream on Friday. At that point, the validation thing wasn't working. Then we broke. Then we met up again to do the stream, and just before the stream he told me I got it working. And then after that, we didn't get to it on air because we ran out of time, and so I don't know exactly how he fixed it. So I'll talk about oh, here we go. Data Driven Skills says, how do you chain Alexa Conversations dialogues? Like, are you specifically asking about like daisy chaining, or like Alexa.design/AC docs? I think you're asking about daisy chaining. Yes. Okay. Let me take a look here at the known issues. See if offer next API. Okay. Just wanted to see if if there's been any updates to this. All right. So there is a way how to offer another API and add another response. So if I go back over to the dialogues, and let's see, let's go to one of these. This is the one that I started speccing out last week, and I have Hawk 2000. Okay, I think it was Hawk 2000 that asked the question. That's why I put Hawk 2000's username in this sample here. But what you can do is you can add this additional response here, and so this allows you to the text here says, further expand your dialogue to cover combinations of requesting and or confirming arguments. So you can add another response here. And let's see, this one, this is a confirm Args. So this is going to dynamically add to this based upon the context. So here, we can, actually, I'm not sure. Yes. So let me do this with a different turn of dialogue. Let's go to the API success. You can add another dialogue act here, and there's only 2 other options that you can do. You can offer another API, or you can request. I'm not sure what request alt is, but if you do offer next API, then you can choose another API definition, and then set what argument you want to request. And then you can also pass args to the next API. So let's say you had a common value that is shared between them. So you can be like, all right, let's pass the name, because we have a name for the order. Maybe we're all going to associate them, all these different things, to the next. Maybe we have like order. Yeah, this example is kind of weak, but like, let's say we have another API that, if I was going to offer ordering like coffee and tea, I'd probably use the same API to do that. But let's just say, for sake of argument, we had another API for ordering another type of drink, because maybe the different types of questions are different. Then we would set that there. We're going to, let's see, will this, yes, okay. So whatever arguments that you have that are associated with this API, you can say this is the one that I want to request. So we'll do that. And then you're just going to pass it. Oh, look. Oh, yes. So if you're going to pass arguments from one API to another, you can't pass the arg or slot through. You have to pass a response argument. So you can either do coffee response or order number, which is something that I had associated with this. So maybe if you want to keep, so maybe instead of the name, shoot. Oh, I see. Well, my example here isn't the greatest because I haven't actually created a dedicated API for this. So just pretend that this is a different object, and instead of order number, it's name. So then you could do this, and so it'll already fill the value to the API with this new name, and then we're passing over that name that we got back from the API. We can add multiple things here if we had different things overlapping, and then once this API success has been done, it'll offer the next API. So there we go. Data-driven skills gave a good example here. Instead of ordering a coffee, you could order a pastry. So yeah, that's a good call out. So let's see, we got 7 minutes. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna stub out a real quick like order coffee. Let me remove this dialog act. There we go. So yeah, let's spec this out real quick. So add an API definition. We're just gonna call this order pastry API. I'm going to add an argument. What do I want to call this argument? Data-driven skills says, how much would you put in one Alexa conversations dialogue? That's a good question. That is like sort of up, like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It depends on the situation. It depends upon how you want to train the dialogue and how you want to train up the AI. So for utterance sets, for like the sample utterance, like utterances that you should use, like I would say you want to have like about, at a minimum, 10 of these is a good number to have. So I've got 5 here, so I'd probably want to add about 5 more sample utterances to this utterance set that helps the model train up and figure out different ways that the user could say this this utterance. But as far as like your dialogues go, what I would say here is you'll want like to train the AI with various like I would identify where are ways that the conversation could branch. So like, let's see, here we have one. Let's see, I'm just trying to find. See, here we go. So I've got one where the user gives all the information in one breath. So they say, okay, I want a large, black coffee for, and then they give the order name. And then I also have one where they start the order, where they don't give me any of the information up front. So then we have to go turn by turn to get them all. We also have one here that shows, here's a correction. I didn't mean for that to pop out. So I have an example here where we say, oh, actually make that small. Let's see. Then we have one here where we start the order. I would like to place an order for. And what this allowed me to do was to, so I created another utterance set that invokes the order coffee and passes the name. And then what I do in code, and I don't think I'm going to get that other like offer API thing sorted out. Sorry, data-driven skills. We got 4 minutes. I just wanted to walk through. Did I open the code in the other tab? Yes. Okay. So if you look here, when the user says that they want to start their order, we actually have the interaction model. So Lex Conversations in this example isn't the default dialog manager. So when you open up the skill, the launch request handles the first request that comes to it. And then we get the, when the user says like start my order, by default, we delegate to Lex Conversations and we set the invoke no args utterance set. And if I go to that utterance set, invoke no args, you can see, I need to add some more sample utterances here, but you can see I'm providing no slots. And so if I go over to my dialog here, and I go to start order, you can see the very first line of dialog here is associated with the invoke no args utterance set, and the dialog act is invoke APIs. And so when you do a delegation from your interaction model to Lex Conversations, the utterance set that you delegate to must be associated with the dialog act of invoke API. So if you try to like invoke to the inform args, it won't work. You'll get an error at runtime. So you need to make sure that you're delegating to a dialog or an utterance set with a dialog act that is invoke API. And then in code, if we already have a username, which means we've saved it, we've interacted with this user before, we know their name, we instead we delegate to the invoke order coffee name utterance set. So if I go back to the invoke order coffee name utterance set, you can see I would like to place an order for, and it gives this name. And then if I go to my sample dialog where I have order coffee for user, this dialog here is first. So as far as what we're doing in code is we're saying, hey, this is what the user said, it's the invoke order coffee name, and the value that they gave is this value here. And we're just grabbing that value that we have saved in our persistent attributes, and that is how we're able to jump specifically to that dialogue. So to answer your question succinctly about how much would you put in one Lex Conversations dialogue, what I would do is figure out what the scenario is, right? So when I did this start order, I was like, okay, well, I need one where it's multi-turn and we're getting each value, one by one. And then I was like, oh, I also want to have something in here for a correction and give them context saying oh, I've updated your order from large to small, right? Because Lex Conversations out of the box will support the user overriding a field, but this allows me adding this other request arg and capturing the old size and keeping the new size allows me to be able to give them this context using the response template to say, hey, I've updated your order from what the old value was to the new value, so that way you can give them some context. And then let's see. So originally this started out without this correction, and then I added this correction in. And if you try to build your skill, so without doing this turn-by-turn version, where you just have it, where is it? Order coffee, right? So I have this example here with, I would like a large black coffee for, if I were to delete all these other dialogues and hit the build button, it will actually fail because I don't have enough sample dialogues. So I'd have to go through and create another sample dialogue that has the turn by turn example here. So like I said earlier, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on like the number of slots per API that you're calling. And it's also going to depend upon all the different branches and things that you want to support. But one thing to note is that like these dialogues aren't like single threaded. So like if the user starts off by saying, I want a large coffee, and then they say something like, oh, actually make it small, even though they started off and, you know, what they've said, you know, starts this dialogue, they're not siloed. So it would be able to handle switching over. And also one thing you'll notice here, there's no confirm args here in this particular set. Like we got invoke, request, inform, API success. But then if I go over here, we have confirm, API, affirm. I think this one has confirm and affirm as well. No, it does not. This one just has an API success. This one has confirm and affirm, and this one has confirm and affirm. So what is it? 3 out of 5 have a confirm and affirm. So what'll happen is, even though I didn't do a confirm and affirm in these other sample dialogues, Alex Conversations will ask to confirm that dialogue. But there will also be cases where it doesn't. So if you want to make sure that it always does a confirm affirm, all you'd have to do is just go back to these other dialogues here and add it in. But like that's the thing to think about, is like these dialogues, you're not like stuck in them if the user starts off, like in this case, if the user gives all the information in one breath, then you know you're going to get the confirm, affirm, and API success, because at that point Alex Conversations has determined that all the slots have been collected for that, the required slots for that API. But like in this case, you know, it's not going to jump to affirm and confirm after you've given this, because it still needs these other values. Team view select says, hey, yo, you were rated. Cool. I didn't see any notifications saying that we were rated, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for rating. Let's see. We are at time. It's 10:03. I'd like to... Yeah, I want to also get back and revisit some of the offer next. You know what? I'll tell you what we'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and end office hours here, but I think offline I'm going to like prepare like or maybe what I'll do. It's kind of fun to do this stuff live, but it's also fun to have something that I can tear down, especially since I have to hit the build button and wait for that to build. So I will put something together for another offer API example and share that with you sometime in the near future, either on the next office hours, or if we do you know, another like stream before office hours. So let's see. Yes, and then we'll also want to work with Kavindra to have you know, to tear down that validation sample that he got working. So okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. Thank you all for tuning in. You know, good luck with the hackathon. You got a little less than 2 days to get all of your skills certified. So I hope by now you're already certified and in. But if you don't already have it certified, I'm gonna share the link out again. Hopefully you're already members of the Slack group. Oops, I didn't want to copy the text of the link. I wanted to copy the actual link itself. There it is. You can click that join link and join the Alexa Conversations Skills Challenge Hackathon Slack workspace. Get your questions answered if you go to the channel hashtag certification. There are people there that will help answer your questions about certification. I know a couple people had like, hey, what does this actually mean? And so pasting in the feedback that they got back from certification and then getting their questions answered. So thank you all for tuning in, and good luck, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.